Well, look at you. Come on in. Make yourself comfortable. Got the fire blaze. It's nice and cozy in here. I have one question for you. What are you doing? If you are watching this show, there's a good chance you're interested in making our insurance community better and not so much about watching old habits die hard. Make no mistake about it. We need a strong community now more than ever. But here's the great news. It's happening, y'all, and it just keeps getting better and evolving at crazy new speeds. The impact agents can have on this industry is already taking shape. My question to you, friends, is what are you doing to strengthen our community? What challenges and new things are you going to try this year to help strengthen the independent agent community? Your voice and actions are very important. Let's dig in with three incredible guests today that have truly been taking massive steps to strengthen our community and uncover what that means to the rest of us trying to figure it out ourselves. We're so glad you're here. Let's get on with the show.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Woo! Hello.
Good afternoon and welcome to the Insurance Scramble Live. It is such a pleasure to have you all here today. Happy Friday afternoon on what surely has been a pretty chilly week for most of us, and our hearts and prayers and strength go out to our Texas friends and family. I'm Joe Hollier. He's Alex DePazzo. How are you, brother?
I'm doing fantastic, brother. Now, I think I should do a little PSA right here real quick so that folks realize that you were Bernie Sanders in the previous segment right over there. I just want to make sure everyone knows that that's what you were going for, because you didn't have the brown mittens, and it threw me.
Hardly, but thank you very much. Our broadcast is live. We got the comment section wide open. So if you're on Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn, or Twitter, or wherever you might be finding us, feel free to chime in anytime. It's an open floor. We love seeing your comments. Today, man, I'll tell you what, we're talking about community and how important it is here and now and going forward. You know, I see a lot of different groups. I see lots of large groups. I see smaller groups. And all these masterminds. We're really going to kind of hone in today on masterminds. I don't know about you, Alex, but I do not belong to a mastermind. But what about you?
I also do not belong to a mastermind, but that's why I'm glad we're having this conversation, because, you know, there's so much conversations about masterminds. Should you be in one? Should you not? Are they good? Are they bad? Should you pay for one? Should they not be? You know, what's the deal, right? You know, how do we master the masterminds?
Exactly. So without further ado, we want to get the ball rolling and the gun shooting and get going here, because we got a full slate to get to today. And I will say, I want to go ahead and bring on our first guest if we can. He is an agency owner, well-known podcaster, and more relevant or most relevant to today's conversation, he runs a high-level insurance mastermind for years now. Please welcome, his brand is Insurance Agency Intelligence, Mr. Jason Cass. Jason, welcome to Insurance Scramble Live, buddy.
Joe, thank you for having me. Alex, thank you for having me as well.
Let's dig in, man, because you know what? We like to pack a lot of gunpowder into a small bullet. So I'm gonna get going quickly here, buddy.
Let's go.
First things first. How long have you led a mastermind? And if you would, describe what that means or what a mastermind is to maybe someone who's not familiar.
Totally, man. 2014 is when I started AI Mastermind. It's Agency Intelligence Mastermind. They're called champions instead of members. Here's the thing about it. It's very simple. If you go back to the 05, 1910, 1920, you'll find out that J.P. Morgan, Thomas Edison, Henry Ford, these guys were all part of a group with each other, but also business owners. And what that did is it allowed them to have the cutting edge. You know, they say if you look up the difference between Secretariat when he won all three of the races, won by less than 2 seconds when you add up all three of the races. It's a very slim margin to be successful, one side or the other. That's what masterminds do. It puts you around other successful people who really have a desire to help you. People that are true in masterminds are not there to help themselves. They're there to help other people. And in return, they're the ones that give it. No one ever said it's take and give. It's give and take.
Very well said. Now let's dissect that a little bit, if you don't mind.
Yeah.
You know, there's going to be people on one side of the coin that are going to say, you know what, our agency, or I just don't want to invest the money into a mastermind. I'm doing fine. But let's go on the other side, Jason. Let's look at the people. Let's look at the young talent, for instance. Somebody young, ambitious, really doing a great job, wants to surround themselves with thought leaders, but maybe, because they're young and maybe, fairly new, they just don't have the cash flow to get in that kind of environment. What are you doing to kind of bring those people in? Or what's your approach? Or do you have one? Or is your group more centered around, people that have hit certain levels of expertise or certain heights or accomplishments?
Correct. Mine's $99 a month. I have to admit, probably in my first year, that would have been tough for me. We probably have, I would say, 6 or 7 out of the 100 and some members we have that are in there for free. They're in there for free for the first 2 years. I've had many that started out that way, and then they started paying after 2 years, and for that reason. But most of them, even they do have $99 a month. Here's the deal. There's free ones and there's not free. A lot of stuff that's out there that's the best is not free. A lot of times when you have free, you have a lot of opinions that I have to tell you, I'm in some of these free groups and these free masterminds, and I think to myself, when I read somebody being told something, I'm like, oh my gosh, I hope no one follows that advice. That's not the way that you should do that. And that's just not me thinking that way. I've noticed that a lot of the people that are very successful and that I want to follow are not in those groups anymore. They've now done what you have to do. You have to put skin in the game to get anywhere, any far. I think anybody who's successful will tell you that they've invested in themselves. And I mean, you can go to the library and learn everything yourself, but you can learn a lot more from other people. Somebody said it one time, and I can't think of it exactly, but to put it simply is quit trying to reinvent stuff. If it's already been invented, just learn from others.
So part of what we're trying to accomplish here today is looking at different communities, whether it be a mastermind or a training educational community. How do we extract value? For people that are on the outside, if I got a certain budget and I'm putting money into training, I'm putting money into expansion, I'm putting money into technology, CRM, my budget's just tapped, bro. How do I take what can I do? I guess what I'm trying to say is, show me the value. If I want to be in Jason Cass's mastermind and I qualify, what can I expect? Even in today's environment, a lot of us are working from home. In today's environment, can you help us to understand the value that we can extract from a mastermind like yours?
It's a community of people who are trying to help you. So there's many different types, and that's a very good point that you bring that up there, Joe, is that there are types where they are strictly just trying to you come in, they're trying high pressure, like, hey, let's compare numbers, let's get down to it. What's the next secret, the next trick? I tell people on all of their intro calls that they all have with me, if you're looking for the next get rich scheme or something like that, we're not for you. We're a community of people between agencies, us anywhere as low as $300,000 in revenue, to our highest guy has 152 million in revenue, 1.2 billion in premium. And we have people have 16 million in revenue. That's the thing. We all know each other's revenue. This is what I mean by this. We're all open. We're sharing our financials. We're saying, hey, man, you're only spending 3% on your marketing budget. Or, hey, do I have a marketing plan? And we're sharing those things. That to us, that's what our mastermind is literally other people who are doing exactly what I'm doing, who are giving us real-time action on agency operations and things other than what's the neatest, coolest, next shiny thing or marketing tactic. That's not what we're about. But there are those out there. There are those out there.
Yeah. I would imagine, too, that when you're looking at, I don't know the size of yours. I'm guessing it's probably a couple hundred people.
Yeah, we have about 170. Yep.
Okay. Versus maybe like a larger free group where you have maybe a couple of 3,000 people.
Easily.
I would imagine there's value when you have a smaller concentration of people that you are group sharing or thinking with or brainstorming with to problem solve. When you go to the bigger groups, you got a lot of support and you got a lot of voices, but it almost seems like it would be overwhelming. I'm not going to mention names, but I felt that way myself when I'll go to a group, and there might be 200 solutions for one question.
Right.
And I think that can be a little bit intimidating in terms of I got a lot of answers, but I don't know what the best answer is. Smaller, more concentrated, more valuable, paid for mastermind seems to be a better option here. Is that
well, quality versus quantity, right?
Right.
You can go into these groups and get a ton of quality, but is there quantity or quantity, but is there quality there? And that's what we think we serve, and a lot of other people, and also a lot of other masterminds are $200, $300, $400, $500. I don't discredit them. If I didn't have my own, I'd probably be in one of those. But we just make it, here was the truth, in real short. In 2014, I had 400 people and I had a free Facebook group. I realized that there was a lot of people in there that I was like, oh my gosh, this is not what I want to jive. This is not the industry I want to propel. And so I charged everybody $99. Guess what? Everybody but about 40 of them left. Those 40 still in the group, and we built from there. We don't have a lot of people that leave, but they do. They come in. I thought I was going to get more out of this. We have 2 meetings a month. We have the biggest discounts. A lot of agents this is another thing. A lot of the agents inside our mastermind tell us that they save between $400 to $900 a month. So for instance, we have Agency VA that does VA service, just mentioning them. They give off money per hour if you're a mastermind member. So there's guys that are saving hundreds of dollars just with Agency VA. And we have a lot of other things. I flex that muscle from the podcast side to bring that benefit over to the mastermind members. So there's a lot of different areas behind this that can definitely help. And we have a mentorship program inside of our fit. So mentors have signed up for it. When new people come on, they sign up to be mentees, and then they get mentored by these other people who have said these different things. Once again, it's more about sharing and caring, and no one cares how much you know until they know how much you care. And if people come in and they want to say, hey, I can help you, we're going to help them. And that's how we learn. And that's how we propel this industry. That's the whole point of what we're doing here. And I'll end with this. I get ashamed and I get sad when I see people who are young who leave this industry, because I think to myself, all I want is for them to know what I've had. At the age of 21, 25, 28, I never thought that I could ever have a job or a life that I have, and insurance has given me that. And I want to make sure that I can build my agency to where it's so successful that I get to pass that along to somebody else and they get to. Right now, there's a 15-year-old guy or girl out there that has no idea that their life's going to be better than they ever thought it would be, because they're going to join and they're going to buy my agency. And that's what we do. And that's what we try to create there at AI Mastermind. It's the best I can say.
Great information, and thank you so much for sharing that, man. I really appreciate you being here. He is Jason Cass. Insurance Agency Intelligence is the brand and empire. Jason, thanks for being here, buddy.
Boom.
Boom. Just like that, he's gone. Lots absorbed there, but I mean, I think he hit on a lot of great points, which is, the value of just, quality over quantity. And sometimes it's worth paying the price of admission to get maybe an upgrade in quality.
Well, and just that thought process. For instance, Jason has the mindset of that there's a 15 to 18-year-old person out there that's already who's going to win what he's started. And not only is he thinking about from the perspective of someone who's going to buy his agency, he's thinking about the perspective of creating an industry where that individual is going to feel like this is the place where they need to be, that they're going to be able to grow, they're going to be able to reach their full potential, but that there's a group aspect that needs to happen. Because, I mean, as an agency owner, there's a lot I don't know. And not to quote Donald Rumsfeld, but what I don't know knowns, or the knowns unknowns, or it's really dangerous not to know stuff.
Well said, amigo. Well, we are introducing a new segment this week just to take a little bit of mind breather before we continue the heavier conversation. We like to dub this our momentary lapse of conformity. And if Alex, you would share with us what we got today. Mr. Chris Klein. Chris Klein of Westfield, providing us with a sweet little mental break there. And thank you, Chris, for contributing. We're going to see more of him in the episodes to come. But part of the segment, you take it from here, Alex. We're going to try to bring in some non-insurance talents just to share with our community, because it really is a community, and it's something that's important for us to show all sides of ourselves.
We were just talking about how, there's a perception out there of what the insurance industry is and what the insurance industry people are. And in talking about that, and I mean, to think about it, this entire show is a momentary lapse in nonconformity. But we wanted to create, a moment where we stop talking insurance, stop talking business. Let's just enjoy something that that is amazing, that's badass, that's great, that didn't happen to do with insurance. And we're hoping as many people as possible just saw that. We got a few more from Chris, but we want to make sure we're involving everybody in the industry. Now, music is easy. You know, there's a buddy of ours who we know knows a little bit about music. We're in his podcast hat today. But, you know, there's so many talents that could definitely give us a momentary lapse in conformity. And we're hoping people just start.
Not in conformity.
Okay.
I digress. We're excited about that. So we're going to keep hitting you guys up for more contributions, just to share your talents here, and thank Chris Klein for being a part of it. And he's a great talent. And if I could get him doing BMX tricks, I would, but I haven't gotten that far yet with him. Without further ado, we have two awesome gentlemen that are in the waiting room waiting to show their faces and contribute to our conversation today. One is the agency. Actually, they're both agency owners. One's an agency owner, podcaster of the Powers Producer podcast, great author, ultimate problem solver. And he also heads up his own high achieving community titled Killing Commercial. One is Mr. David Carothers. David, welcome to the Insurance Scramble Live.
What's up, fellas? How y'all doing?
We're doing great. It's nice and warm in here. You know, talk all week's been about the frigid, miserable temperatures throughout the country. I believe you're in the Tampa area, so you're free of that, just like Mr. DePazzo. But otherwise, we're just trying to get through it.
Let's bring on our other guest to make, so that way we can have a whole group convo going on here. And he knows a little bit more about cold than David or I. Well, maybe a whole lot more about cold than David or I. The man who needs no introduction, Mr.
He doesn't need an introduction, but allow me to say a few nice things about this awesome guy.
Don't lie, Joe.
Don't lie. I could spend 20 minutes talking about you, and I wouldn't cover it all. But I will say this: he's the publisher of one of the most valuable industry periodicals in our industry called Last Agent Standing. For over 20 years, he's achieved great success with his agency, Paradiso Insurance. But what Chris Paradiso is best known for and respected for, in my opinion, is his involvement with not just his local community, but the insurance community, always uplifting agents, always finding ways to make us better. And we're so grateful to have both of you gentlemen on, because you're doing some amazing things in our space. And we're here trying to figure out, where is the value in group learning? Where is the value of mastermind? David, I'm going to start with you first, if you don't mind. Sorry, Chris. Welcome to the show, buddy. I didn't mean to cut you off.
Appreciate it. Thank you guys for having me.
I'm happy to be Chris's buffer between Cass.
Doesn't work like that.
You didn't even need to have Chris Klein playing the guitar. I could have been your mental break. It's not a big deal.
No. Hey, you know what? The second batter in the lineup's always a power hitter. So welcome to the show, David. It's great to have you here. And, just speaking about masterminds and about niche communities, in your opinion, David, what value do you find in that, or what is your take on masterminds?
It's interesting. I think people like to be part of something. Granted, you have a certain amount of inclusion that you feel when you're part of a free mastermind group. But when you present an opportunity that has a little bit of exclusivity to it, that seems like you're getting something that nobody else gets, and then that mastermind actually delivers by providing the opportunities that people expect it to, it makes for a really cool situation. And, it's funny because I never really thought about what we were doing with Killing Commercial so much as being a mastermind, as much as it is. We're just a community. We're a community of like-minded people that are going after middle market business. We challenge each other. We share ideas. And the way that we have set Killing Commercial up, we only operate with one agency in a geographic area. So there's exclusivity there. And the only reason that our community works the way that it does is because we truly have collaboration without competition based on how it's been designed.
So, yeah, and that's, I'm using mastermind as a broad kind of term today, but you're right. Really, the emphasis is on the communities, and now more than ever, Chris, we as humans are just craving human interaction so much right now, and we're all Zoom fatigued. We're all just wanting to get back in person with people. So I think we can sense and feel the the need for a community. And I'm a big proponent and fan of that. But let me ask you, Mr. Paradiso, as an agent or in an agency, is money better spent in maybe getting part of mastermind groups for growth? Or if you're a limited budget, should you maybe stick with, trying to improve your customer experience, or, training programs? You offer a full slate of training programs, just like Killing Commercial. Where do you feel is money best spent when it comes to just overall agent growth?
I think it's hands down, you got to invest in yourself. You can't help build a better experience if you haven't learned and educated and taught in self-help, right? Self-education, not just you yourself, but education, whether it's investing in a mastermind group, investing in book reading, book clubs, or whatever it might be. But you can't improve anything. You can't improve your organization. You can't improve your customer experience if you don't understand on how to improve it. So you have to. Number one thing I would stress to people: invest in yourself. And it doesn't matter which mastermind group you're investing in yourself. Then after you invest, you have to then invest the time to really to build those relationships and ask those difficult questions. And the number one thing you should ask other people, what did they fail at and what would they change? Everybody wants to ask what everybody's succeeding at. I think there's way more to learn from each other, just amongst us four right here, and what we failed at and maybe what we would change.
I think, and I'm going to throw this back to you, David, to start out this one. I think, and to your point, Chris, that's absolutely true. But what about the young talent? What about the fresh voices that we are not hearing from, that don't have access to the mastermind so much? Free masterminds are that. But what about the ones that can bring fresh perspective? Because we can have, us four can have conversations, or Jason can have conversations, or Bradley Flowers can have conversations. We're all having the same conversation. So that the thinking tends to stay on the same line a lot of times. But what about people's perspective that we haven't heard from, that might bring a take that's unique to us in the conversation? How do we bring them in to where they don't feel as excluded from groups that maybe they can't afford?
Well, I think it starts with the agency principle and the leadership they have in their agencies. I mean, the issue that we have is we've got the old guard that is getting ready to be moving on down the road. And agencies historically have been operations of control. You've got the figurehead, the matriarch, the patriarch, whoever it is, but they control the operation. And with that, they tend to not be open to hearing other people's opinions. They built the agency on their back, and they, have been successful. And I don't take anything away from them for that. However, we have a whole other generation coming in that thinks about things completely differently than what we do. And if, as agency principals, we don't take the time to listen to what they're telling us and then ultimately provide what they need, which is our job. Our job is to provide our teams what they need, period. We provide our clients what they need, period. And you can't do that without listening and letting them tell you. Whether you agree with it or disagree with it, at least give them the opportunity to have a voice. And if you do that, then you can have the discussion around what you want to do next to get them into the developmental programs, to get them into the masterminds. I mean, there are resourceful young people in our industry right now that have already forgotten more about the new technology than I know. And if I'm not learning how to leverage things like TikTok and some of this other stuff that's coming out, I'm going to be behind. I'm not going to wonder what's happening. I'm going to wonder what has happened.
Well said.
What do you think, Chris?
I hate the word we can't afford. We only afford what we want to afford. The word busy just means, I was too busy to get it done. No, it really means one thing. It wasn't that important. So we can always find a way to afford what we choose and what we feel is important enough to afford.
And I think it's really interesting, the two perspectives. So, and just the way I'm hearing it, Chris, you're talking a lot about agencies or agency owners investing in their agency, investing in their businesses, which obviously is extremely important. But I'm also hearing from Dave about agency owners investing in their teams. So, a lot of times when we're having these conversations, we're talking about, ownership or key personnel per se. But there is a lot to be said that because of the structure of the industry, because I've been in the industry for 23 years and I've been hearing about the old guard for 23 years. as if it's been 20 years. When are they going to let go? So the question to me really ends up being is that, are we letting the folks coming in, are we removing the veil from a lot of what's going on so that they can feel more a part of the process?
We are not.
And then how these groups can, agency owners investing in their teams in some of these groups might be a way to do that.
Well, the problem is that, the old guard is going to continue to be in perpetuity until people stop and listen to another perspective. All we're doing is we're teaching people the way it's always been done, and we wonder why it's getting done the way it always has been done. We're the ones that have to drive the change. I mean, look in the mirror and you'll see 99% of the problems in my agency, right? It starts with me. And if I don't lead with the right example and I don't have the right culture in my firm, which is one of inclusivity and education, then why am I even doing this? My goal is not to be an insurance agent until I'm 90 years old. My goal is to be able to be an agency principal until that time when it's time for me to pass the torch to people that I have equipped to take the asset that I have helped build with my team and turn it over to them and let them take it into the next generation, and then be proud of them and celebrate their success, instead of always having to look for me to be the one who takes the credit for any success anybody has, and me to hold information tight because I'm concerned that somebody else might be viewed as better than me. I couldn't care less. If anybody in my agency goes out and writes an account bigger than my biggest account, I'm going to be the first guy to give them a high five.
Absolutely.
So I'm looking at, absolutely. Yeah, I couldn't agree more. We're looking at, principals sometimes being the problem, or a lot of times being the issue, because you can't get past the guard or the barricade of, if you're a young agent, like I'm just thinking back, if you have young talent that's in an old guard agency, they're going to be stuck there until the principal changes, or until they move on somewhere else that's a little bit more progressive in their thinking. So, that I would imagine we're losing a lot of people along the way here that are getting stuck in these routines, that see insurance as the old way that's always been done, and are moving on to other industries or more exciting opportunities because they're not seeing it as maybe some of us can see it, of the potential of it or where it should be.
I think social media is opening the eyes where these young producers that aren't finding what they need in the agencies that they are with, that's why so many of the social media people, thought leaders, are doing such a great job in opening these people's minds. And I won't say one specific person. I basically gave him a deadline, and he's a podcaster now, everybody knows him, but pushed him and said, you're better than this. The only way you're going to get to that next level is you have to open your own. It's risk versus reward. If you're going to get to that level with technology and you're not getting it where you're at, you either got to change to another location or open your own. And the great thing is he opened his own, and I think he will continue to push the envelope, not only for his own agency, but for our industry.
I think Chris brings up a good point too. I mean, the producers that are really motivated, the people that are extremely entrepreneurial, they're always going to find a path to get what it is that they need to find satisfaction in their career. And as a result, that's what happens. They open a new agency. They have the ability to really take something over or buy an agency that exists or however it works inside of where they're at. But again, it goes back to control. The agency principal doesn't give them the ability to make decisions, doesn't give them the ability to think critically and do all of the things that they want to do. And I can tell you from firsthand experience, that's why I have Florida Risk Partners. I didn't have the ability to be creative. I didn't have that blank tapestry, and I need that. As an entrepreneurial individual, I have to be able to meet that need in my life. And if I don't meet it, I'm going to go find whatever I can do until I get there. That's one of the reasons why I opened my agency. And if we don't give people that ability, I don't know what's going to happen. Agencies are going to fizzle out, or they're going to continue to sell to private equity. But the people I'm the most concerned about are the ones that are one step down. Maybe they don't have the same level of entrepreneurialism. Maybe they don't have that same drive. And those people just get beaten up and cast aside and end up in another industry.
Mm-hmm. Or the fear to pivot and to transition to, what they should be evolving to, and that could be, I think, before we let you guys go, I think that could be kind of a hidden benefit of the masterminds. Cass mentioned about the mentoring program where maybe you can bring in young talent at a modified rate, or just to get them in the door to start showing them. So the mastermind, the group can show these young folks or these new people to the industry these are the paths that are out there. If you're not getting that where you are, you need to know that these people in this group are doing these things, so that you can, if you're willing to take that risk or go out and walk into the unknown a little bit, you have these opportunities, and we can be here to support you. So, if there's an avenue where we can start connecting people that maybe don't have that accessibility to gain that accessibility, and they can see what it's all about, then I think we have an opportunity to grow just in a different way.
I'll tell you what, man, the coolest thing that we've done is we are in the process of wrapping this up right now. We have gamified our community. We've gone to carriers, we've gone to vendors, we've gotten prize money, prizes, and every month we have a ticker that's going to run across the top of the main activity feed inside of our social network that we built, and it's going to show sales results. Even though we don't compete, we're going to compete, and that's what's going to make it really, really cool. And it dials it back a little bit to appeal to the younger generation, because A, they're into gamification and gaming and all of that, but B, it gives them a chance to take the old goat off the top of the mountain by challenging them every single month, and it's made for a really cool dynamic.
I love it. That's very cool, gentlemen. I can't thank you enough. Your information, your sharing is invaluable, and we really appreciate you being here today. Chris Paradiso, any parting thoughts before we let you guys go?
The great Jim Rohn says, if you don't invest 30% of your income into yourself and education and bettering yourself, you're missing the boat.
We're going to quote that and put it on the site. Mr. Carothers, any parting thoughts?
I'm just happy to be here, guys. I got sandwiched with Cass and Paradiso. I don't know what else I could ask for.
Well, we're trying to get you everybody in great company.
Yeah.
I think we achieved that. God bless you all. Stay safe and welcome.
Appreciate you guys.
Thank you, guys.
All right. Have a
Thanks,
great
fellas.
weekend,
Oof.
y'all.
Ooh.
Man.
Ooh. I felt like we had like a little free mastermind going on right there. I mean,
I know. I feel like it's heavy on the quality right now, and it's concentrated overflowing. I'm going to have to dissect this one over the week, because it's great. A lot of great points.
Absolutely, from both sides, and to pay tribute to both of these gentlemen. I know a few people who are in Killing Commercial, and it's funny. I expected David to be so much more. I don't know how to say it, like, larger than life. So, because everyone I know who's in that program is so excited to be in that program. Not to mention all of the unbelievably selfless work that Chris Paradiso does for our industries and independent agencies all across the country. Hearing from those two, and I think that in the end of the day is the investment we're talking about, right? The investment isn't to join a group. The investment is to join a group where you have opportunity to hear from individuals like this, who are given and taken, but more given than taken.
Well, that's exactly it. And that's really why I wanted to have these guys on today, because they all individually and as a group have invested so much into growing this industry in the right way. They're not some fly-by-night. I have a $197 program I want to share with you about masterminds. These are guys that have put in the time, the energy, and the money to really move this industry in the right direction. And I think it's invaluable to hear their perspective on where it's gone, or where it's coming from, and where it could go. And those are the guys we need to continue to latch onto and look up to as we grow.
Absolutely, brother. Absolutely. Well, to everyone out there who's hopefully it's starting to warm up a little bit, our hearts are with you. I will send as much sunshine I can from sunny South Florida.
Same here in deep South New Orleans, Louisiana.
And we're ready to go on March 5th. So can't wait to be scrambling with you guys then.
Absolutely. Thank you guys so much for being here today. Thank you for watching it. If you're watching it on the replay, it's always great to hear your input and share your comments or your thoughts or your opinions. This show is about opinions, commentary, and overall growth. So we're here for you each and every episode to dig into that, and just appreciate you all being here.
Absolutely. And Ed, this one's for you.
Just when you think this show is terrible, something wonderful happens.
What?
It ends.